The most powerful thing you have ever done in your entire life made no sound at all. There was no audience. There was no applause. There was no one standing beside you whispering, "You are doing the right thing." You made that decision in the heaviest silence you have ever known, the kind of silence that presses against your chest and makes you wonder if you just destroyed everything or saved it. And nobody came. Nobody called. Nobody confirmed. That silence almost convinced you it was meaningless. But here is what you do not know. When you made that choice, when you went that far, further than anyone around you would have gone, further than logic, further than self-preservation, further than your own breaking point, something happened in the unseen realm that has not happened in a very long time. God looked at you the way you have always looked at him, with awe. The one who holds galaxies in his hands paused, not in judgment, not in correction, but in sacred disbelief that a human being he gave free will to would choose that freely to go that far. You trembled the whole time. You were not even sure you were doing it right, and that is exactly what made it extraordinary. This message did not wander to you. It was sent. And the 5 truths I am about to unfold will show you precisely what your silent act just set into permanent motion across your entire life. Stay with me until the very end of this message, because by the time we are done, you will understand exactly what your act shattered in the unseen realm. I will hand you a specific practice, a framework with a name, that will help you sustain this level of spiritual authority moving forward. And before this message closes, we will enter an activation together, a commissioning that I believe will seal everything into your spirit in a way that stays with you long after today. But first, I need you to see something about where you are right now, right in this very moment. Picture this. It is late. The house is quiet. Maybe everyone else is asleep, or maybe you are alone, and the silence around you is not peaceful at all. It is loud. You are sitting with the weight of something you just did, and no one knows about it. Your hands might still be shaking slightly. Your chest feels hollow, like something left your body, and you are not sure whether it was poison leaving or a part of yourself you will never get back. You keep replaying it. The conversation you walked away from. The person you forgave when they never even asked for it. The boundary you finally drew after years of being too afraid to hold a line. The thing you released that you had every right to hold on to. And the question looping through your mind is this: did I just make the biggest mistake of my life? I am here to answer that question. And the answer is going to change everything. Because here is what has been happening since you made that decision, and I want you to pay very close attention. If you recognize what I am about to describe, then this message was built for you. You did not tell anyone when you started feeling lighter, for no explainable reason. Not happier exactly, but lighter, as if something invisible lifted off your back while you were sleeping. You cannot pinpoint the exact moment it happened, but you know something shifted inside you, and the air around you feels different now, like a room that just had its windows opened for the first time in years. You did not tell anyone when the people who used to drain you suddenly started keeping their distance. Nobody fought, nobody argued. They just stopped reaching out, as if an invisible line had been drawn around your life, and they could feel it, even though they could not see it. And you noticed their absence before you noticed the peace it brought. You did not tell anyone when your dreams changed. They became vivid, almost more real than your waking hours. You started seeing water, light, open doorways. And you woke up feeling like you had been somewhere, like someone had been speaking to you in a language your mind could not translate, but your spirit understood perfectly. If that resonated, if something in your spirit just confirmed what I said, type "He sees me" in the comments right now. Let that be your first declaration today. You did not tell anyone when strangers started saying things that felt too specific to be coincidence. A cashier, A co-worker you barely speak to. Someone looked you in the eyes and said something that landed right in the center of your chest. Something that confirmed the exact thing you had been silently asking God about for weeks. And you did not tell anyone about the presence. Not a voice, not a vision, but a feeling of being watched. Not the paranoid kind. The kind that feels like covering. The kind that makes you turn around in an empty room because you could swear someone is standing right behind you, and instead of fear, what washes over you is warmth. Here is what I need you to understand, and please hear me when I say this. That silence after your act, the silence that almost crushed you, the silence you interpreted as emptiness, that was not emptiness at all. That was the sound of heaven holding its breath. God did not ignore what you did. He was so moved by it that even the angels went quiet. When something truly sacred happens, the response is never noise. The response is reverent silence. The kind of silence that fills a room when something holy walks in. And what felt like being ignored, what felt like nobody caring about the price you paid, that was not rejection, that was protection. Because what you carried was too sacred for public eyes. Some acts of obedience are so pure that they can only be witnessed by the one who assigned them. And he witnessed every second of it. Now let me show you what actually happened when you made that decision. Think of it this way. What you did sent a tremor through the heavens. Not a whisper, a tremor. The kind that shifts foundations and rearranges structures and causes everything built on the wrong ground to crack. And the aftershocks of that tremor have not stopped. They are still moving through your life right now, reaching parts of your story that you cannot see yet, displacing things that do not belong in the season you are walking into. If what I just described sounds like your life, if you are the one who went further than anyone asked you to go, type "I went further" in the comments. Own that. Because what you are about to hear will prove that nothing you did was wasted. And here is what I want you to notice. If you recognized 3 or more of those signs I just described, then what I am sharing today is not general. This is not a broad message cast into the wind, hoping it lands somewhere. This is surgical. This is aimed. And there is a reason it found you in this exact window of time. Because here is the thread that runs through everything I am about to reveal, and I need you to hold on to this. You are not who you think you are. What you just did, that act of silent, bleeding obedience, it did not just move heaven. It revealed something about your true nature that even you have not fully seen yet. And it will take the rest of this message to show you the full picture. So, let me tell you what is ahead. In this message, I am going to reveal an ancient word, a word from the original Hebrew text that describes exactly what God felt when he witnessed your act. I am going to hand you a framework called the Stillness Protocol that will show you how to protect what you just built without explaining yourself to a single person. I am going to break down why the chaos you have experienced since your decision is not punishment, but confirmation. And at the very end, I am going to lead you through a sacred activation, a commissioning ceremony that is not a regular prayer. Every piece builds on the one before it, and the deepest truth comes last. So do not leave halfway through. What your spirit brought you here to receive can only be fully received at the end. Now, what I have shown you so far, the signs, the recognition, the fact that God saw you, that alone would be enough to carry you. Just knowing your act was not invisible could sustain you for weeks. But it is not enough. Because there is something deeper. There is a reason your act was different from everything else you have ever done. Not just different in size, but different in kind. And that difference has a name. One ancient word that captures exactly what shifted in the heavens when you chose to go that far. When you hear this word, when you understand what it truly means in its original language, everything I just shared will open to a depth that changes how you see your entire life. I want you to notice something happening to you right now. Notice how something in your spirit has settled since we began. The noise in your mind has grown quieter than it was 10 minutes ago. Your breathing is different, deeper, slower, as if your body already senses what your mind has not yet received. That shift you feel is not emotion, that is alignment. Your spirit is opening a door that your intellect does not have the key to, and what walks through that door next will change how you understand everything you have been living through. Now, I told you there was an ancient word, one specific word that describes what God felt when He witnessed your act. And I promised you that when you heard it, everything would go deeper. Here it is. In the original Hebrew, the word is Tamar. Most people have never encountered this word. You will not hear it in casual sermons. You will not find it in inspirational quotes. But in the ancient texts, when the writers needed to describe the exact moment when God Himself was struck by something He did not expect, when the Almighty was moved beyond simple approval, beyond ordinary pride, they reached for this word, Tamar. And here is what makes it so powerful. Tamar does not mean God was pleased. He is pleased often. It does not mean He was proud. He is proud of many of His children. Tamar means He was struck motionless with wonder. It means God was so astonished by what He saw that He paused, the way a father pauses when his child does something so brave, so selfless, so beyond their years that the father forgets to speak. Not because he is confused, but because he is witnessing something he did not teach, something that came from a place deeper than instruction, something that came from nature. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 59, verse 16, this exact word appears. The prophet writes that God looked across the earth, and he, Tamar, he was astonished, because he could not find a single person willing to stand in the gap. Not one soul, the entire earth, and nobody stood. So God Himself had to intervene. But here is what scholars rarely connect, and this is the part that changes everything for you. That same word, that same divine astonishment, that same tremor inside the heart of God, it does not only appear in moments of disappointment. It appears when the opposite happens. When God looks across the earth and finds someone who did stand, someone who did not just meet the expectation, but shattered it, someone who went so far beyond the assignment that even the one who wrote it had to stop and marvel. And when God encounters that, He experiences Tamar again, not the Tamar of sorrow, the Tamar of awe, of sacred, breathless wonder at what a human being chose to do with the free will He gave them. And, chosen one, that person is you. Your obedience was not an assignment completed and filed away. It was a love letter written in action, and God is still reading it. Before I go further, gently press the like button, not for me, but so this ancient truth can travel further tonight. Someone out there is sitting in the same silence you were sitting in, wondering if their act was invisible. Your like might be the bridge that carries this word to them. And right now, in this moment, I hear the Spirit saying something, and I need to speak it exactly as it comes. I hear the Spirit saying, I looked across the earth for someone who would stand in the gap, for someone who would choose the harder road without needing to be asked twice, for someone who would carry the weight without advertising it, without performing it, without needing applause to keep going. And then I found you, and what you did, I am still marveling at it. I am still watching the ripples of what you set into motion. And I need you to know, my child, that your trembling did not disqualify your obedience. Your trembling is what made it holy. Because anyone can obey when they are confident, but only a chosen one obeys when they are shaking. Do you know who else caused Tamar in the heart of God? Abraham. Abraham was given an assignment that made no rational sense. He was asked to go further than any sane person would go. He was asked to surrender the one thing that mattered most to him, and he did not argue. He did not negotiate. He did not call a meeting with his friends to discuss whether this was wise. He simply walked up the mountain, in silence, with trembling hands and complete trust. And when God saw how far Abraham was willing to go, the entire trajectory of Abraham's life shifted. Not because he passed a test, but because his action revealed who he had been all along. The act was the window. His nature was the view. And I want you to hear this, because it applies directly to where you stand right now. What you did, that decision, that sacrifice, that release, that was your mountain. And you climbed it, in the dark, alone, without a single person holding a torch for you. And God is standing at the summit, looking at you the same way he looked at Abraham, with Tamar, with holy astonishment. Not because you performed something impressive, but because you revealed something sacred. And remember the tremor I told you about, the tremor your act sent through the heavens? The first aftershock has already reached your relationships. That is why certain people have pulled away without explanation. That is why certain connections that felt stable for years suddenly feel like they are sitting on cracked ground. The foundation beneath those relationships shifted because you shifted. And what no longer aligns with where you are headed cannot survive on the old ground. That is not loss. That is not punishment. That is spiritual recalibration. The tremor is doing its work. And here is something that might surprise you. What I just described, this state of alignment, this moment where your spirit and your actions fully synchronized, it is not just spiritual language. There is a measurable frequency behind it. Scientists have studied what happens inside the human brain during moments of profound spiritual alignment, and what they found is extraordinary. There is a brainwave called gamma, the highest frequency the human brain can produce. Researchers have linked this frequency to genius-level thinking, deep intuition, and what they call the flow state, that rare condition where your mind, your spirit, and your actions are operating as one. Scientists at MIT and Princeton discovered that gamma activates most powerfully during moments of total surrender and aligned action. Monks who practiced meditation for 40 years showed elevated gamma. But what stunned the research teams was this: the exact same frequency appeared in ordinary individuals during singular moments of extraordinary faith. One act of raw, aligned trust lit up the same neural pathways that took decades of practice to develop. You activated that frequency, not through years of training, through a single moment of obedience so profound that your brain could not tell the difference between you and a master who had practiced for a lifetime, and the work of Dr. Robert Lake, a neuroscientist whose 34 years of research into what he calls the youthful brain has mapped this frequency across thousands of people, confirms that what happened to you is not metaphor. It is not poetry, it is measurable. Your gamma frequency was placed inside you before you were born, and your act just reignited it. But I am getting ahead of myself. What that frequency means for your immediate future, and how it connects to the deeper reason your life has felt chaotic since your decision, that is something I need to unfold carefully, and it is coming. But I have to pause and ask you something right now. When was the last time you felt that frequency? That state where everything was clear, decisions came effortlessly, life felt aligned in a way you could not explain, but you could absolutely feel. If you struggle to remember, that is not your fault. There is a documented scientific reason why that clarity disappeared, and I will show you what happened to it and exactly how it can be restored. But not yet. If you felt something shift inside you when you heard the word Tamar, if that word landed somewhere deeper than your ears, somewhere in the center of your chest, that is not emotion, and it is not coincidence. That is recognition. Your spirit recognizes what your mind is only beginning to understand. And that recognition is confirmation that the next truth was designed for exactly where you are standing right now. Because what I just showed you, the word, the tremor, the frequency, that was only the second aftershock. The third one, the one that reached the spiritual realm, the one that shook the very foundations of the darkness that has been working against you, that is the one that changed the entire battlefield. And to show you what I mean, I need to tell you about someone who did exactly what you did, chose forgiveness when destruction was fully justified, chose silence when their words could have ended everything, and whose story, when I share it with you, will sound so familiar that you might wonder if I have been watching your life through a window. There was a man, 47 years old, who carried a wound for 22 years. His father walked out when he was 25. No goodbye, no explanation. No phone call on birthdays, no letter on holidays, nothing. Just an empty chair at every table and a silence that grew louder with every passing year. And for 2 decades, that silence hardened into something heavy inside his chest, something that shaped every relationship he entered, every conversation he had, every prayer he whispered in the dark. He did not call it anger anymore, he called it normal, but it was eating him alive. And then one night, alone in his living room, he did something that made no sense. He forgave his father. Not out loud, not in a letter, not even in a prayer. He just sat there and released it. He told me later that it felt like reaching into his own chest and pulling something out with his bare hands, something that had wrapped itself around his ribs and convinced him it was part of his skeleton. He said the hardest thing he ever did was the quietest thing he ever did. He did not tell anyone. He did not post about it. He did not call a friend. He applied what I would later describe to him as strategic silence, a refusal to seek validation for what only God needed to witness. And for months, nothing seemed to change. People around him did not notice. His bank account stayed the same. His marriage was still strained. He started wondering if it even mattered. 14 months later, everything shifted. A business opportunity appeared from a contact he had never reached out to. His marriage began to heal, not from a big dramatic conversation, but from small moments of actually hearing each other for the first time in years. And his dreams changed, prophetic, vivid, clear in a way they had never been before. He later told me that after the first few months, he started exploring deeper tools to support the transformation happening inside his mind, something called neuroactive among other things, but he always came back to the same truth. It all began with one act, one silent, devastating act of forgiveness. And I share his story because I believe it mirrors yours. Maybe the details are different. Maybe your act was not forgiveness but surrender, or a boundary, or a letting go. But the structure is the same. A quiet, private, costly act of obedience that the world ignored but heaven recorded. And if his story shook something loose inside you, that is because the same tremor that moved through his life is moving through yours right now. But here is what nobody told that man, and what nobody has told you either. When you made that decision, when your act sent that tremor through the heavens, it did not only reach God, it reached the other side too. The darkness felt it. And this is the part that explains the chaos. Because I know what has been happening to you since your decision. Things have gotten harder, not easier. Relationships that seemed stable started fracturing. Unexpected expenses appeared out of nowhere. Sleep became restless. Your thoughts, got louder. People who had been quiet suddenly came back with opinions, with accusations, with energy that felt designed to pull you backwards. And I know what you have been thinking. You have been thinking, maybe I made the wrong choice. Maybe this mess is the consequence of my decision. Maybe God is punishing me for something I cannot see. No. Listen to me carefully. The attacks that followed your act were not punishment, they were panic. Darkness does not attack what is insignificant. It does not waste energy on things that do not threaten it. The fact that your life has been under siege since your decision is the single greatest confirmation that your act registered exactly where it needed to register. The intensity of the attack is proportional to the significance of what you just did. What you interpreted as things falling apart was actually things falling into place at a speed that terrified the structures that were holding you back. If you receive that truth, if something in your spirit just exhaled when you heard those words, type, "I receive," in the comments. Accept that truth over your life right now. And now, I need to give you something practical. Something you can carry with you from this moment forward. Because the revelation is only half the equation. You also need a strategy for the season you just entered. This is called the Stillness Protocol, and it has 3 parts. The first part is this: do not explain your act to anyone for 40 days. I know that sounds extreme, but hear me. The pressure you feel to explain yourself, to justify your decision, to seek understanding from people who were not in the room when you made it, that pressure is not coming from God. It is coming from the part of you that still needs human approval to feel safe. But what you did was not a human act, it was a divine one. And divine acts do not require human validation. They require divine silence. So, for the next 40 days, let the act speak for itself. Guard it the way you would guard a flame in a windstorm, with your body, with your silence, with your refusal to let anyone blow it out with their opinions. The second part is this: do not seek validation from those who did not witness your sacrifice. The people who were not in the fire with you do not get to tell you what the fire felt like. Their commentary, no matter how well-meaning, will either inflate what happened or deflate it, and both distortions are dangerous. Let only the one who assigned the act judge the act. Everyone else gets the gift of your silence. And the third part is this: let the results speak in their own timing. You have already done the hardest part. The act is complete. Now your only job is to remain still while the tremor you created rearranges the ground beneath your life. You do not need to push. You do not need to manufacture momentum. The earthquake has already happened. The aftershocks will do the rest. Now, look at where you stand compared to where you were at the beginning of this message. You went in carrying shame, and you are coming out carrying authority. You went in with trembling hands, and you are coming out with a steady voice. You went in alone, and you are coming out surrounded by truths that no one can take from you. You went in forgotten by the world, and you are coming out unforgettable in the courts of heaven. You went in as a survivor, and you are coming out as a sent one, and that, chosen one, would be more than enough. Everything I have shown you, the word Tama, the spiritual tremor, the stillness protocol, the confirmation that your chaos is not punishment but the enemy's panic, any one of those truths could sustain you for an entire season. But we are not done, because there is one more revelation, the deepest one, the one that ties every single thread together. And before this message comes to its close, I am going to speak something over your life, a commissioning, an activation, that I believe will stay with you long after you leave this space. Do not leave before then. But first, I need to complete something I started earlier. Remember when I told you about that frequency, that gamma state? the brainwave that activates during moments of profound spiritual alignment. I told you that you activated it through your act, and that was true. But here is what I did not tell you yet. The reason your gamma felt so powerful in that moment is because you are not an ordinary person. You were born with gamma levels higher than most people on this planet. That is why, when you were a child, you learned faster than your peers. You felt deeper. Your intuition was sharper. You noticed things that other children missed entirely. Adults looked at you and said things like, "That child is different. That child sees things. That child is wise beyond their years." That was not personality. That was gamma. Your brain was wired for a higher frequency from the very beginning. But something happened. Scientists call it the decline effect. Starting around the age of 7, the modern world, the education system, the noise, the constant stimulation, the pressure to conform, all of it began to suppress that frequency, not destroy it. Suppress it, push it into dormancy. And year by year, the genius that lived naturally inside your mind grew quieter. The intuition faded, the clarity dimmed. The magic that made childhood feel effortless slowly disappeared, and no one could explain why. And here is the part that matters most for you. Because you were born with higher gamma than most people, the suppression hit you harder. The gap between who you were as a child and who you became as an adult is wider for a chosen one than it is for anyone else. That heaviness you carry, that sense that you were built for something bigger but cannot quite reach it, that feeling of operating at 30% when you know there is 100 inside you, that is the distance between where your gamma is right now and where it was designed to be. And I would never tell you about a wound without showing you the healing. A neuroscientist named Dr. Robert Lake spent 34 years of his career studying this exact phenomenon. 34 years in labs at some of the most respected institutions in the world, including MIT and Princeton and several other leading research universities, mapping the gamma frequency across thousands of brains. And what he discovered is that gamma does not die. It goes dormant, and it can be reactivated. He compressed decades of neuroscience research into a single audio technology called brain entrainment, a method that synchronizes your brain waves with a specific frequency pattern using nothing but sound. And from that research, he created something, a 7-minute digital audio track. You put on headphones, you sit in a chair, you listen for 7 minutes, and the sound waves guide your brain back into the gamma state it was born to operate in. No meditation required, no mantras,